What if the same habits that make people wildly successful in their careers are the exact same habits that give them incredible sex lives? I'm Dr. Arvia, LAB. Urologist and pelvic surgeon. After years of treating patients, I can tell you that the people who show up intentional, disciplined, and self aware in life, if they take that same drive to having better sex, they show up that way in the bedroom too. Today, I'm giving you these 7 things that successful people do differently when it comes to their sexual health, and every single one of them is something you can start doing today. Before we get into it, I want to tell you about something I built specifically for this community, the Better Sex app. It's my science-backed program designed to help actually improve your sex life using expert guidance, evidence-based techniques, and real strategies for desire, arousal, connection, and sexual function. Everything I wish my patients had access to between appointments now in one place. You can find it at studio.com, Renena. Now, let's talk about what separates. What separates people who have thriving sex life? People who have a thriving sex life from everybody else. A lot of people don't realize it, but maintaining good sexual health doesn't happen by accident. The patients I see who have the most satisfying, functional, connected sex life well into their 60s and beyond, they're not just lucky, they're intentional. They treat their sexual health the same way a high performer treats their career or their fitness, with attention and investment. They work at it. So let's get into it. Number 1, they prioritize sleep. They treat prioritizing sleep as a non-negotiable, and their sex life is better for it. Sleep is foundational to sexual health. For men, the majority of their daily testosterone production happens during sleep, specifically during REM sleep. Studies show that even 1 week of sleeping 5 hours or less can reduce your testosterone levels by up to 15%. That's the hormonal equivalent of aging a decade in 1 week. For women, sleep deprivation elevates cortisol and suppresses testosterone, ultimately reducing sexual desire. In fact, in one study looking at young women, researchers found that for every additional hour of sleep, that increased the likelihood of that woman having sexual activity the next day by 14%. So, successful people who have genuinely good sex lives, protect their sleep. They have consistent bedtimes. They wind down intentionally. They understand that what happens at night directly determines what's possible in the boardroom and in the bedroom. If your sex drive has felt flat, if your arousal feels like work, if you're never in the mood before anything else, look at your sleep. It is the foundation everything else is built on. Number 2, they exercise consistently, not just for exercising consistently how their body looks, but for how it performs. Exercise is one of the most powerful tools we have for sexual health, and the research is unequivocal. Regular aerobic exercise improves blood flow, supports testosterone levels, reduces erectile dysfunction in men, and improves blood flow to the genitals, increasing arousal in women in as quick as 15 to 30 minutes after physical activity. Also, your pelvic floor muscles are directly involved in orgasm intensity, erectile function, ejaculatory control, and lubrication. And they respond to exercise. It could be dedicated pelvic floor exercises, yoga, Pilates, anything that builds pelvic floor awareness and strength directly translates to better sexual function. With one caveat: as long as you don't have pelvic floor dysfunction, things like constipation, urinary frequency, urinary urgency, back pain, hip pain, these can all be signs that you might have pelvic floor dysfunction. So, make sure to get that evaluated before you start strengthening the pelvic floor, because sometimes that can make the dysfunction worse. Back to it. 30 minutes of movement most days of the week for a minimum of 150 minutes per week in any form, walking, cycling, swimming, is enough to see real benefits in the bedroom. And strength training at least twice a week, particularly of the large muscle groups like the lower extremities and the gluteus maximus and the core, has been shown to significantly improve testosterone and improve sexual health. And as a bonus, if you are strong and you have cardiovascular endurance, that means that you can have sex for a long period of time in a variety of positions in the bedroom, making it more fun and more novel. Managing stress number 3, they manage stress before it manages them. Successful people have a real relationship with stress management, and it shows up in their sex lives as well. Here's the physiology that makes it make sense. When you want to get aroused, your body needs to have your parasympathetic nervous system activated. That is your rest and digest state. If you have chronic stress, it keeps you locked in the sympathetic overdrive, basically fight or flight. And this makes it very difficult for your blood to flow into the genitals and your bodies to become aroused. And when your cortisol is chronically elevated from chronic stress, your testosterone drops, which means you can't have desire and you're definitely not getting aroused. Now, of course, you can't eliminate stress. That's impossible. But successful people have tools that work for them. Whether it's exercise, mindfulness, boundaries around work, therapy, whatever works for them, they use it consistently. Now, stress reduction is one of the most effective interventions for low sexual desire in both men and women. Think about when you go on vacation. You have no stress. Life is great. Oftentimes, you're having a lot of sex too because you're relaxed and in a good mood. Basically, your nervous system finally feels safe and your desire just comes back in full swing. Number 4, they fuel their bodies. Successful people are intentional about nutrition. They, fueling the body, understand that what they eat is directly connected to how they perform, not only mentally but also sexually. And sexual function is fundamentally a vascular event. Erections, arousal, lubrication, orgasms, all of it depend on healthy blood flow and healthy blood vessels. And guys, very few things affect your vascular health more directly than your diet. If you're eating a diet high in processed foods, in refined sugars, in saturated fats, you are promoting inflammation that then damages blood vessel walls and contributes to basically endothelial dysfunction that causes not only heart disease, but also causes erectile dysfunction and difficulty with arousal. So, what does a pro-sex diet actually look like? Now, there are lots of videos saying eat these 5 things, but let's think big picture. Mediterranean diet has been the most studied. So that includes leafy greens, fatty fish, olive oil, nuts, legumes, colorful vegetables, and foods rich in nitrates like beets, arugula, spinach. These support nitric oxide production, which is the ignition for erections and clitoral erections. And also food with flavonoids like dark chocolate and berries have also been shown to improve vascular function. Successful people basically know that every meal they have is either supporting or hurting their performance, both for their brain, their hearts, and their sex lives. Number 5, they communicate openly. To be successful at communicating openly work, you need to be clear about your expectations and be open to criticism and flexible and resilient. The same applies to your sex life and your sexual relationship. Couples who talk about their desires, their preferences, their boundaries, and changes in their sexual needs ultimately have higher satisfaction even when they're having less sex. Successful people treat their sex lives just like any other area they want to improve. They gather information. They have honest conversations. They don't assume that their partner knows what they need. They actually say it. And even more important, successful people don't suffer in silence. When something changes, they notice their desire drops. Their erections become inconsistent. Their orgasms become difficult, or sex becomes painful. They find an expert, they go to their doctor and get evaluated because most of these things are treatable or fixable, but only if someone knows what's going on. And guys, I see it all the time. Patients who have struggled silently for years with something that could have been improved with just one simple change. So don't be that person. Your sexual health deserves the same medical attention as every other part of your health. Number 6, they protect their mental health. Guys, protecting mental health, taking your mental health seriously is so important because it directly affects your sex life. And the connection is so much stronger than most people realize. Depression is one of the leading causes of low desire in both men and women. Even performance anxiety can very often drive erectile dysfunction and body image issues. Past trauma, relationship issues, all of it lives inside your body and shows up when you want to be intimate or have sex with someone else. It's also complicated because lots of antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications also have a side effect of affecting sexual function negatively. So, you're treating one thing that's inadvertently affecting another. This is again why it's important to talk to your physician and let them know that sex is important to you or that you're having sexual side effects, because often there are alternative medications or strategies that can help. But if you don't tell them sex is a priority, they might not even bring up the side effects, or they might not follow up and ask, hey, are you still having good sex? So please, please bring it up. This is not to say that these medications are not helpful or useful, but you do need to know that these medications can have serious side effects and affect sexual function. And again, there are many alternative options. Number 7, they never stop learning. And this one is probably the most underrated of all. Successful people stay curious. They stay curious about life and about their own bodies. Sexual health is not static. It changes. It changes over your lifetime as you age, with your hormones, with your health status, with relationship dynamics, and with stress levels. What worked at 30 might need to evolve when you turn 50. And people who have great sex throughout their lives are the ones who adapt. Just because your body couldn't do the same things it could when you were 20 doesn't mean that you can't have amazing sex. Guys, if you're still watching this video, or better yet, you've subscribed to my channel, you are already winning because you're open to learning new information based in science and not getting caught up in the nonsense that's out there. And being flexible is underrated. Be willing to try new things with your partner. Sex is a skill, and you can continue to get better at it over time. It also means understanding your own physiology, what turns you on and what doesn't, and how do you communicate that best with your partner. Successful people in every domain are learners. The ones that have the best sex lives are no difference. They treat sexual health as a lifelong practice. So, there you have it. 7 things. Conclusion. Successful people do to have better sex. And guess what? There is no quick fix, no supplement that's going to magically make you a sex god. These are compounding habits that build towards a sex life that is worth desiring and having. You don't have to master all 7 of these at once. Pick one that really resonated with you today and start there, because one intentional change done in very small steps, meaning making a goal that's so simple that you can do that you can't ignore over time. Those are the ones that make real change. And then come back, watch this video again, and pick another area. I want to hear from you guys. Which of these are you already doing, and which ones do you need to work on? Drop it in the comments. If you guys found this useful, please subscribe. I'm here every single week with evidence-based content on sexual and urologic health. And of course, share this with someone who might need it, even a partner or a friend.